Today we're taking on a legend, a name that is synonymous with success, with winning, with greatness itself. We're talking about Michael Jordan. Hi and welcome back to How You Win, the channel where we dissect the mental operating systems of the world's greatest achievers. Now it's easy to look at MJ and just say, well, he was a superhuman talent, a once-in-a-species athlete. It doesn't apply to the rest of us, and not to me especially. But what if I told you that the myth of Michael Jordan is not where the real story is? What if his legendary competitive fire and his ability to win when it mattered most were not gifts, but the result of a psychological system that he built? A system that you can learn from. Today, we are going to use the core principles for my upcoming book, Master Your Lifescript, to analyze the real engine behind Michael Jordan's success. Let's get into it. The first and most foundational principle of the Michael Jordan mindset is what my book calls developing your potential pragmatically. This is the loop between having a bold, idealistic vision of yourself and then committing to the pragmatic, step-by-step behavioral work to make it real. And the origin story of Michael Jordan is the ultimate case study for that. You've probably heard the story that as a sophomore, Michael Jordan was famously cut from his high school varsity basketball team. Now, this is a moment where most people's stories would end. They would either lower their goal and say, well, I guess I'm just a junior varsity player, right? Or they would rationalize, well, the coach was just unfair. But Jordan did something different. As he recounted many times and as shown in the documentary The Last Dance, he didn't lower his idealistic goal of being a star. He used the rejection as fuel to get pragmatic. He went home, he cried, and then he got to work. He was at the gym before everyone else. He stayed after everyone else. He turned the basketball court into his own personal laboratory. He didn't just dream of getting better, he engaged in the specific repetitive behavioral work to build the skills he lacked. This is the absolute core of the principle: don't lower your goals to match your current skills, but build the skills to match your boldest goals. That single event wrote the first chapter of his life script and created the mental blueprint for his entire career. So that explains his work ethic, but it doesn't explain his legendary ability to perform under stress and pressure. This brings us to our second principle, turning stress into flow. In my book, I explain that flow is a state of peak performance where you are so intensely focused that action and awareness merge. But how do you get there when the pressure is at its highest? Most people see stress as a threat. It makes them perform worse. Jordan had the rare ability to reframe stress as a tool, a necessary ingredient to achieve a state of flow. The most legendary example of this is the 1997 flu game. It was Game 5 of the NBA Finals, and Jordan was visibly sick with what was actually food poisoning. He was dehydrated, he was exhausted, and barely able to stand. So for 99.9% of the people, this level of physical stress would be paralyzing. But for Jordan, the intense physical adversity had the paradoxical effect.
He is suffering from flu-like symptoms, made his way onto the court just moments ago, and as you see right here, looking a bit shaky. He was up all last night, spent all day in bed, did not eat at all, did not go to the shoot-around earlier today.
It was so overwhelming that it burned away every other distraction. His focus became singular. He wasn't thinking about the crowd, the pressure, or the stakes. He was just playing. The result, 38 points and a legendary win. He channeled immense stress directly into a state of pure flow. He even did this to himself on purpose. As his teammates attested, he would invent slights and feuds with opponents just to create the inner tension he needed to focus his energy. He didn't avoid stress, he harnessed it. This all points to a unique relationship with failure, which is our third and final principle today: overcoming learned helplessness. Jordan's mindset about failure failure is perhaps the most radical and replicable part of his success. He had an empowered understanding of what failure actually is. The most powerful evidence comes from his own mouth in that famous 1997 Nike commercial, and you just have to listen to his own words. "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career.
Lost more than 300 games.
I've lost almost 300 games.
26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed.
26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed.
I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed."
I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed.
This is a direct rejection of a helpless mindset. Through the lens of my book, we can analyze his causal attribution style. He saw every missed shot not as a permanent state, but as a temporary event. He saw it as specific to that one shot, not as a pervasive reflection of his identity as a choker. And most importantly, he always believed the outcome was controllable through his next action. That's why he was never afraid to take the final shot, because in his mind, the previous miss didn't define the next attempt. Failure wasn't the end of the story, it was just a plot point on the way to winning. So when we analyze Michael Jordan through the lens of Master Your Lifescript, the myth falls away and a clear system emerges. First, he developed his potential pragmatically, using failure to build the skills he needed to match his vision. Second, he turned stress into flow, using pressure as a tool to achieve focus. And third, he overcame learned helplessness, actively reframing failure as a necessary part of his journey to success. This is a psychological blueprint for a champion's mindset. It shows that greatness isn't just born, it's built. Success is learnable. So think about it. What is the single biggest failure in your life that you could reframe, not as an end point, but as the fuel for your own next success story? These principles are just a glimpse of the complete system I break down in my upcoming book, Master Your Lifescript. If you want to be the first to know when it launches and get exclusive pre-order bonuses, join the waitlist at the link in the description. You don't want to miss this. What part of MJ's mindset do you find most powerful? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time to learn more about how you win.